Welcome to the Greenwich Sentinel's video news. I'm Taylor Knight. Over the next hour here on Gctv, we will have the latest news stories, sports coverage, and interviews with the people who make Greenwich great. Many people might remember Ada's on Riverside Avenue. The variety store, once owned by a beloved Greenwich woman, sold penny candy to local children for 60 years.
A lot of my friends who are from this part of town are like, when I told them I'd be taking over the space, they're like, oh my God, I went there from, it's like embedded in their childhood, so it's excited to bring that back to life.
Mike Petrofaso will be opening Ada's Kitchen and Coffee. He was a farm-to-table chef for 15 years and is continuing that with Ada's Kitchen and Coffee.
We're going to try to use a lot of local Connecticut growers, menu changes seasonally, a lot of vegetable-based dishes.
Petrofaso says almost everything is homemade in the kitchen, from the sandwiches to the salads to the smoothies and even ice cream.
We grind every single cup of coffee to order, so every espresso drink, every drip coffee you get, everything's ground to order.
But don't worry, the new Ada's will have a candy corner for the kids.
We're trying to keep some of the old tradition alive, keep her alive.
Ada's Kitchen and Coffee is tentatively set to open on February 22nd. We will keep you posted so you can go check it out. Reporting for the Greenwich Sentinel, I'm Taylor Knight. Inside the Round Hill Community Church, former Sandy Hook first grade teacher Caitlin Rogue DeBellis is sharing how she continues to choose hope every day, even after enduring the terrible tragedy that took place in Newtown back in 2012.
Having hope means you choose to believe. It means even if times are bad, you are hopeful that they will get better. And if times are good, you are hopeful that they will remain, for you are aware that nothing is ever promised.
Roig DeBellis says she hid her 15 students in a small single-stall bathroom as 20-year-old Adam Lanza shot his way into Sandy Hook Elementary School, murdering 20 children and 6 adults.
I could have never planned for the tragic events of December 14, 2012, and after found myself on a very new path with no plan. We will each meet times in our lives where we find ourselves on a path armed with no plan. I would encourage anyone to always persevere. When I found myself there, I made 2 decisions that made all the difference.
Roig DeBellis says she decided that day wasn't going to define her and that she would get her control back. The 32-year-old says this led her to write the book Choosing Hope and to found Classes for Classes. The nonprofit connects children in classrooms all across the country and teaches students it is better to give than receive.
Classes for Classes was founded on the belief that when we actively engage children in our country in being compassionate and kind and empathetic, that there simply is not room for hate.
Round Hill Community Church Associate Minister Dan Haug says he hopes Roig DeBellis' message resonates with young families.
Her experience is really focused for families with young children and to be able to help them to provide hope for even life's most difficult and dark situations. So we think it's a message that resonates, well, for all people, but especially for families with young children who are navigating that often difficult transitional time of childhood into early adolescence.
Haug says the church has many events for families with young children and everyone is welcome to check it out. Also, you can find Roig DeBellis' book Choosing Hope in bookstores now.
Evil cannot ever define you if you choose to focus on hope.
Reporting for the Greenwich Sentinel, I'm Taylor Knight. Earlier this month, the Greenwich High School indoor track teams competed in the FCX, the girls finishing 3rd and the boys finishing 4th. Now it's time to change gears and prepare for the New England Championships.
I've been on the track team since I was a freshman, and I've made it to New England my freshman year in the spring, but I've never actually gone to New England and been able to run in Boston at this track, so I'm really, really excited, and this has been a lot of fun so far.
I know there will be a lot more competition, and I looked at the seeds from the other states, and there's definitely a lot of fast girls who are going to compete there.
GHS will be sending 4 girls and 2 boys to New England's, held at the Reggie Lewis Track and Athletic Center up in Boston.
I had no idea that we were going to even have one person in the New England Championships. To have that many, it's a huge accomplishment. It's awesome.
It's fantastic. It's to really truly be one of the best in the entire state of Connecticut. a testament to the hard work that they've put in as athletes.
To qualify, athletes have to be top 6 in the state in their races or events. But for Emily Philippides, she finished in the top spot at the state opens in the 600-meter race.
I was nervous for that race for about a week. So when I crossed the finish line, I was just relieved that I was able to get first.
3 other girls will join Philippides to run in the 4x200-meter race at New England's.
We've definitely improved our 4x2 time. We changed the lineup a couple times, but now in our last meet, we were seated 9th and we ended up taking a second off of our time from states. So we've seen a lot of improvement. This whole season's been doing really well.
Saphir Scott will be competing in the high jump, and Isaac Floyd will represent the Cardinals in the long jump.
It's that day, that moment, being right there, being ready to compete. It's really, really tough, but they excelled and now they're moving on.
Feels good, actually. It's my first indoor season, so it's going well so far, and hopefully come in first.
The athletes say they are happy their hard work all season has paid off and are excited to run in such a big meet.
Hopefully they'll enjoy this moment and something that they can go on and tell their kids and grandkids about, and more importantly, hopefully they have success at the meet.
The meet will take place on Sunday, February 28th. Stick with the Sentinel and we'll keep you updated on how the Cardinals finish at New England's. Reporting for the Greenwich Sentinel, I'm Taylor Knight.
I'm at the First Baptist Church of Greenwich, and here church officials are asking the community to come together and donate water to those in Flint, Michigan who need clean drinking water.
It's a community in crisis. They're in need, and we can all identify with crisis and need.
The Connecticut State Missionary Baptist Convention asked each of its 66 member churches to donate 10 cases of water and cash funds to go towards a tractor trailer that will bring all the water to Flint.
We secured donations, funds from members and non-members.
The First Baptist Church of Greenwich has already exceeded its goal of 1,000 cases of water. The Associated Press reports 2 years ago, Flint began drawing its water supply from the Flint River, and this change resulted in dangerously high levels of lead in area children.
The fact that it's happening within the borders of America, I think that all Americans are just appalled and outraged and shocked that this is happening in the United States of America.
Flint, Michigan is such a tragic revelation that infrastructures, even here in our great country, sometimes break down. And if an infrastructure can break down in Flint, Michigan, infrastructures could break down in other places as well.
You can help the people of Flint by donating to the First Baptist Church of Greenwich until Friday, February 26th at 6 p.m. Church officials will be bringing the donated water to Waterbury on Saturday, where it will then be transported to Flint on a tractor trailer. Reporting for the Greenwich Sentinel, I'm Taylor Knight.
Southwestern Connecticut came together here in Stamford tonight to show support and solidarity after what officials say has been an anti-Muslim and anti-refugee rhetoric in the current presidential race.
Unfortunately, some politicians, Donald Trump in particular, make outrageous comments and attacks, really, on Muslims, playing to a majority knowing that Muslims are a small minority within the United States.
We've had another spate of Islamophobia and a lot of hatred expressed against refugees, people who are different. Different from whom? If we look around this room, we see a lot of difference.
The Interfaith Council of Southwestern Connecticut brought people of all religions and beliefs together to support the Muslims in the community, and former U.S. Representative Chris Shays gave the keynote address.
We need to create a safe place for people to say what may not be politically correct, and maybe you think this is the same thing. We need to create a safe place for people to expose their ignorance. So you can gently correct and enlighten them.
Shay says Americans have to develop empathy towards Muslims.
The simple fact is, however, we're concerned about the utter brutality of Al-Qaeda or Boko Haram or ISIL or ISIS, as we could call it, and the attempt to create a caliphate state in Syria and Iraq are as big a concern to the Muslim community as they are to the non-Muslim community.
There will be another event similar to this on March 31st at 7 o'clock at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Stamford. There, Muslims will share stories and address issues they face within the community. Reporting for the Greenwich Sentinel, I'm Taylor Knight. Greenwich High School senior basketball star Abby Wolf scored her 1,000th point earlier this month against Stanford High.
It felt a little surreal when you think about that number, like, wow, that's a lot of baskets. And, like, not only that I made, but a lot of them were easy because my teammates set me up for them.
I'm so proud of her.
Wolf has been a 4-year starter on the team, and she says she got those 1,000 points by working hard.
I'm always being in the gym when we don't have practice, and, like, a lot of coaches have helped me along the way, like Coach Hernandez, and just always growing up, people have always helped me, like, work on my skill set. I don't like to think of myself as, like, a standard center.
Abby's definitely, I won't say a household name, but definitely within Fairfield County, people know who she is.
Wolf will be playing for Northwestern University next season. Reporting for the Greenwich Sentinel, I'm Taylor Knight. State Representative Mike Pacino of the 150th District met with constituents at the Byram Schubert Library to have a conversation about what's going on in Hartford.
We're here for you, that we're not individuals that are unreachable. We're here to serve your best interests. You represent part of the 150th District.
Pacino explained what he's been working on and then took questions from residents. The first few had to do with transportation issues like the wait station on I-95 in Greenwich. One resident asked if control of the wait station will ever be given to state police rather than the Department of Motor Vehicles as it is now.
We want to work with the Transportation Committee to find a way to see what the problem is and why the wait stations aren't open at least at a minimum 15 hours a day, if not 24 hours a day.
Pacino also says the state is missing out on potential revenue because of how often the wait station is closed. Another Greenwich resident had a concern about the pollution and noise coming from the highway.
Now we're in such economic trouble, and the transportation, yes, we're looking at trying to do something with the infrastructure, but I'm not certain that we'll be able to get the sound barriers moving forward.
Pacino also says he would talk with UConn about the possibility of performing a study on the relationship between people who live along the I-95 corridor and cancer.
I can talk to them about possibly doing a study and what it would cost. And what would entail.
Pacino says he always wants to hear from those he serves, and he will hold another one of these events on the east side of town in the future. Reporting for the Greenwich Sentinel, I'm Taylor Knight. A little bit of snow couldn't ruin the day for two Muse residents celebrating their 100th birthdays on Monday afternoon.
Today I am 100 years of age.
But there was even more to celebrate.
In doing a little investigation, we found that not only is one person turning 100 today, another person's turning 99, and another's turning 98, all on the same day.
Richard Salvatore, Violet Iverson, Olivia Herman, and Dorothea Bellafiore were honored with cake, music, and fun. And they gave me some advice on living a long life.
Really just work hard, have a lot of kids, and a wonderful husband. That was the whole secret.
It really is in my family. It's the genes that are doing this. The genes are doing this to me.
The Muse is an independent senior living facility in downtown Greenwich. Executive Director David Noon says many themed events are held throughout the year, and they really enhance the community aspect of the Muse.
This is truly what I call an organic community. People move in here, and they're immediately befriended by other people who help them kind of learn the ropes, if you will. But these themed events really bring people out and they bring people together.
You can find out more information at www.themuseingreenwich.org. Reporting for the Greenwich Sentinel, I'm Taylor Knight. The top two teams in the FCAC, the Greenwich Cardinals and the Darien Blue Wave, faced off at Darien Ice Rink on Wednesday afternoon. First period, both goalies show a solid performance. The Cardinals had a few good looks, but David Voigt was there to protect the net. Here he traps this shot from Alex Mosian to keep it scoreless. Nick Bizzuto does the same in the net for Greenwich, and the score is a hard-fought 0-0 after one period. Now let's go to the halfway mark of the second period. Cal McKinney gets a great great pass and places the puck in the back of the net. Greenwich is up 1-0 going into the third period. Mike Mosian goes on a fast break down ice, passes to his brother Alex, who passes the puck back and gets it past Voigt. The Cardinals are all riled up, leading the Blue Wave 2-0 with 10:40 left to play. Fast forward 4 minutes, Max DiBernardinis gets a pass from captain Jake Kirby to put the Blue Wave on the board, but the Cardinals will hold on to beat Darien 2-1 in this FCX showdown.
We knew coming in, tough team. We lost them 3-0 earlier, but we knew our offense had been struggling. We knew we had to come in, get the gritty goals, and we came in, played great defensively.
The team played really well. A game like this, you could go either way, but you got to put yourself give yourself a chance to win, and you got to come out and everybody has to compete. And our team competed hard, especially down low in our zone. Much better than last time we played them.
Next, Greenwich will face Ridgefield at Dorothy Hamill Rink on Thursday at 8 o'clock. Reporting for the Greenwich Sentinel, I'm Taylor Knight. 2016 marks the 100th anniversary of the Greenwich YMCA.
I think it's just incredible when you think about the amount of kids and families that the Y's made an impact on.
The YMCA held a centennial celebration on Thursday night, and people got a glimpse of what the Y was like from many years ago.
We're celebrating the centennial, and there was a box of photographs, and I started to look through them and realized that they weren't archived. They were, if something were to happen, it could have just gone away.
Board member Tanya Ellis worked with her daughter to archive all the photos and then put them on display.
Originally, it was just a community service project, but then as I got more involved with the whole process, I was really fascinated.
One of the things that was interesting in working with her on it was, God, I didn't know that the Y had bowling. I didn't know that, there was this huge bell at this camp, and I didn't know all the classes, the Halloween parties, there used to be like for lack of a better word, a Starbucks kind of thing set up, and it was a real community thing.
Ellis says the oldest photo they found was from 1905, and the pictures go through time until the 1970s.
We're very lucky to have this iconic building, very lucky to see what existed here and what will exist in the future.
What I think is really timeless, again, in the photos is you see a group of kids that are learning new skills or having a ton of fun. They're championed by staff that are really dedicated and then supported by volunteers and people in the community, and that is going to move forward for the next 100 years.
The photos are a gift to the YMCA from Ellis's family, and she hopes they will find a place to stay on display to showcase the long history of the organization in Greenwich. Reporting for the Greenwich Sentinel, I'm Taylor Knight. Dr. Tariq Pereira is a board psychiatrist with an office in Greenwich. Contemporary Care is a full-service psychiatric practice, and he says this office has performed the most TMS therapy treatments in the country.
TMS is where you get a magnetic coil, you put it over your head, and you create a pulse that directly targets the part of the brain that is underactive.
No pain. It literally feels like a finger, like someone's finger is just like tapping you on the head.
Pereira says TMS, or transcranial magnetic stimulation treatment, has been approved by the FDA since 2008, and it is safer to use than a cell phone. During the first appointment, the patient is assessed and then returns 5 days a week for 6 weeks for the treatment. Nerves in the brain are activated by TMS, and eventually the activation becomes permanent, says Pereira.
It works very fast, so people who've been depressed 10, 20 years start feeling better in about 3 weeks and get completely better in about 6 weeks.
Patients who have tried 4 antidepressants with no improvement to their mental state can be approved by most insurances, according to Pereira, who has done research on TMS at Columbia University and is the founding president of the TMS Society. He says about 70% of his patients get well after 1 6-week TMS treatment.
Our goal is to get them to have normal functioning. It's not about making people artificially happy. That's, getting someone high. Where we feel like if you are able to have normal moods and respond appropriately to what's going on and have normal functioning, normal levels of motivation, that is what we call wellness, and that's our goal. And we get there a lot better and a lot quicker and a lot more safer with TMS than with medications.
Pereira says this treatment can also be helpful to patients who don't want to use medication, like Camry DeCrosta. She was treated at Contemporary Care for anxiety and depression.
Part of my anxiety was health anxiety, so that made me anxious to take pills. So yeah, I like this because there's no side effects, and pills can give you a million side effects.
But for patients who do use medication, Pereira says they will continue taking them through TMS treatment. And he says TMS is essentially safe for every person to try, except for those with magnetic metal in their head.
The number of times people who have gotten better with TMS and tell me, look, if I didn't get better with this, I would have killed myself, is really scary.
Pereira says TMS can also be used to treat PTSD, OCD, and bipolar depression, but the FDA still needs to approve it for these practices. You can learn more at www.contemporarycare.net. Reporting for the Greenwich Sentinel, I'm Taylor Knight.
We would like to thank Greenwich Community Television for their dedication to the community and for allowing us to share our content with you. And be sure to check the Greenwich Sentinel and GreenwichSentinel.com for the latest news, sports, and events happening around town.